Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Coach Noah coming to you from the Nutrition with Noah show, and I am returning back to Chapter 7 of Integrative Nutrition here. Remember, you can download the first two chapters at coachnoah.com. When you go ahead and sign up for my mailing list, they'll send you a link to download the first two chapters of this wonderful book. And just a little preface. The Escaping the Matrix chapter is about some really deep issues around reflecting on the cultural influences that affect our health. So there is really much deeper thinking that can go into the topics that I'm going to be, for lack of better terms, kind of skimming or giving an overview of. But I just wanted to encourage everybody to go to buy this book and actually delve deeper into thinking about these issues. And for now, I'm going to give you a little introduction to the topics, the rest of the topics that Joshua Rosenthal covers in this chapter. The next heading on chapter 7, page 173, is the pressure to be thin. The idea of being thin enters girls' minds in very early in life, and I can even say as a man and as a young boy, it entered my life when I was 6 or 7 years old. Increasingly, young girls say they want to be thinner. About half the girls in the United States between the ages of 11 to 13 see themselves as overweight. Despite the many strides that women have made in recent history, we still live in an over-masculine modern society. The world needs to be strong, powerful, nurturing women to balance this energy, but many women are limited and silenced by their insecurities because the messages they have received throughout their lifetimes about what it means to be female, what it means to be thin. See, what is shown in magazines is not reality. It's airbrushed images. Women see these ads and they're supposed to be able to roll out of bed being beautiful like the models on the pages of the magazine. Men also see these images and start to impose their unrealistic ideas of what it means to be a woman on women. So supermodels are supposed to represent what's desirable in a woman. Even now in the 21st century, and like I said, I'm just kind of running through this, the female half of the American population continues to experience this pressure to be thin, and in a very real way and on a daily basis. Advertising encourages women to substitute food for love while glamorizing images of borderline anorexic women. So left to ourselves, we can just drift along with the collective cultural mindset and to try and make the best of it, or we can choose to stand up for what we know is the truth of what it means to take care of ourselves and love our bodies, and regardless of what the media pushes us to believe. The next topic he covers is the Superwoman Syndrome. Liberated from the confinement of traditional female roles, with increasing opportunities to explore areas once exclusively for men, modern women frequently end up leading chronically stressful lives as they struggle to balance all their options. They want to be successful in business, have a great marriage, beautiful children, a dynamite figure with a flat belly, involve themselves in the arts, and maybe even run for office someday. Phew! Just thinking about it makes me stressed out. I know many women who suffer from the Superwoman Syndrome, trying to maintain this stressful lifestyle and then wondering why it's not making them happy. See, courage is also needed to stand up and say, okay, everyone, you can pass me on the fast track to success. I've tasted it. I understand it. I'm no longer interested in keeping up because I know how the price is too high. I want to stay true to myself and I want to enjoy myself. These are my priorities. So really starting to look at the priorities and break out of the Superwoman syndrome, and now moving right along, there's a Superman syndrome. Men also face a sort of sexual oppression in our society. Men today have enormous pressure to be strong, to provide for their families, to be there for wives, lovers, partners, husbands. In recent years, marketing geared toward men has dramatically expanded the images, think about men's health, with men to have fit bodies, including six-pack abs, and men who are highly successful in their careers, who are bringing home the bacon in large quantities, and if they're not, they're considered failures. They drive to be a success object. This drive to be a success object causes men to override their bodies. Then we don't listen to the wisdom of ourselves, to the gentle voice inside that would have us slow down and be more self-loving. After all, by cultural standards, this is not very manly. So in helping men overcome the pressure to be perfect by societal standards, to have a fit body, to have a well-paying job, and to be open but not too sensitive, Joshua says, I encourage men to seek support. I urge them to create communities where they feel comfortable, free from pressure to conform to other people's ideals of who or what they should be or where they can express their emotions. We need places as men to express our emotions without judgment. So men in our culture are ready to learn that we don't need to sacrifice our bodies for success. Men, what he says, is need encouragement and permission, not only from the women around them, but from fellow men. So now we're moving to the individual. Joshua says, though, even though you look at the big structure of the matrix surrounding us, my focus is always on the individual. And I can speak this for myself when I'm providing health coaching or health consulting to people. My focus is always on the individual in front of me. And this perspective of a fresh start, of focusing on the individual, is very much like the Zen idea of beginner's mind. And it refers to the art of approaching something from an innocent attitude, a fresh, receptive, inquiring manner. This is a wonderful way to starve the matrix and let your beauty and your truth shine through. I like to look at the person in front of me, he says, whether a student, client, or friend, as a tabula rasa, as a clean slate, and ask them, how are you? How can we address your health concern? A lot of evidence exists in the counseling profession that a person will get themselves well just by speaking about their problems and receiving love from the counselor and receiving recommendations. Looking back, Joshua says, I noticed that many of my clients have recovered quickly without the need for medications or other interventions. I attribute this to careful listening skills, appreciating them, and a deeper knowledge that they need not suffer. Just being with someone who can provide a peaceful space where suffering is a suffering-free zone, right? Many clients and students maybe could have worked problems out on their own, he says, but if they were willing to put, and this is key, as much attention and intelligence into their own health care as they do into their professional lives. This rarely happens. Society, culture, and the media all shift people away from caring for their own health, drawing the focus away from what's inside to what's out there. Fashion, the lives of celebrities, and gossip take precedence over our own physical health and well-being. He says, I like to remind my students to love and respect themselves and to take time to listen to the needs of their bodies, their minds, and their souls. I teach people to notice the issues that are troubling them and then invest time and energy into resolving them. Our method makes people focus more on themselves, address everything that's bothering them. Once this happens, the solution is usually quite obvious, and the person with the answers is usually the individual themselves, and they're able to break out of the matrix. The trained listener who is devoted to helping them get better is the support for helping people discover their own answers. Now, there's an idea that Joshua ends the chapter with about fitting out. So much of the matrix is focused on fitting in. And what Joshua is recommending is that we take time to fit out, to be ourselves. Many of the people that go to integrative nutrition, which is a lot of the people he's talking about, do not fit into average society. And in order to fit in, we compromise ourselves in relationships, and this idea of fitting in limits us and it keeps us in the matrix. Escaping the matrix is a key step in creating true health and happiness. You start by noticing the places in your life where you feel inauthentic. Are there certain people you have difficulty expressing your true self around? In what circumstances do you try to fit into other people's expectations without self-judgment? Begin to notice when and where this occurs and start building the confidence to express your true self at all times, to embrace what makes you different from the norm. And that's the idea of fitting out. And by expressing your authentic self, your life force will soar, your heart will open, and the world will never look the same. And then there's an exercise Joshua offers at the end of this chapter about turning off your media, tracking your media messages, and creating a wish list. So, the idea is experiment with turning off the media for a day, tracking your media messages as you write down all the media you're exposed to on an average day and the messages you receive. What are the major messages you're receiving? And your wish list is a tool to let go of societal ideas of what your life should look like and connect with your deepest desires for the future. Start listing your desires. Begin with the simple and obvious, and when you notice that more ideas come to you, keep writing. Allow yourself to go crazy. Write down all that you desire. Use any language you're comfortable with, such as I want, I desire, I intend. Allow yourself to have fun with this. And I imagine in November celebrating Thanksgiving, an example of a desire, celebrating Thanksgiving in St. John, and celebrating Christmas and Hanukkah in Mexico with my family and my closest friends. That is a perfect example of a desire that I've created this week. So I invite you to create your own desires. Thank you for listening. This is Coach Noah signing off from the Nutrition with Noah show. Have a great day.